So, man, what a crazy 2 days it's been so far. Today is October 21st. It's Friday as of the time of this recording. And we are within the first 48 hours of the reveal that the Nintendo NX was actually the Nintendo Switch. So like I said, it's crazy. It feels really weird to finally be at this point. The analogy I've used several times, we're on the other side of the looking glass now, you guys. This is crazy. After months and weeks and years and several conventions and all these opportunities and a few Nintendo Directs, of wondering and waiting, when is Nintendo going to tell us what the damned NX is? They've finally done it. We know what it is, and it is no longer a mystery. All those rumors, that whole wacky time that we've all been going through this whole last year for the majority of 2016, it's no longer matters, man. That is in the past. We are now in the know. And that's pretty cool. It's probably the coolest, I think. It's really exciting to finally say, hey, we know what Nintendo's next generation machine is. I mean, it's only so often that we actually are lucky enough to have next generation hardware, a new iteration of all these manufacturers' machines coming out to us. And when it's Nintendo, for me as a Nintendo fan, and a lot of you out there as Nintendo fans, it's extra special because Nintendo always does that weird thing. And as we've seen, that's definitely what's happening with the Switch. And so, yeah, I just think it's interesting. I like to kind of stop and like marvel at these times and really reflect and soak in on the fact that we're in this period now. We've got 5 months to go to really, enjoy this time and be excited for Nintendo's next machine. So what I wanted to do here on just the second day within the first 48 hours of the reveal of the Nintendo Switch is just kind of further discuss my feelings about it, what's going on, what information has come out, what kind of theories have people discussed, what sort of discoveries have people made by dissecting all the photos and everything. That's the interesting thing, is when I made my video yesterday morning, which you hopefully saw, and a lot of people did the same thing. What everyone did yesterday is we made videos right in the morning, right when the information was brand new and fresh, before we really had a long time to dissect it. I made my video, I started off right before the reveal happened, and then I picked up, within 60 seconds from the end of that 3.5-minute trailer going live. So all I could do was talk about thoughts as it was less than 5 minutes old in my brain. And like I was saying, now it's been, over 24 hours, coming up on 48 hours. And we've seen all sorts of photos that Nintendo has released to the press. We've all had many times to go, we've had many opportunities to go back and bring up the trailer, watch it over and over again, stop at the parts that we want to stop at, enlarge pictures, get an idea of what the controllers are really like. Nintendo's released a couple of statements. What's going to happen with the screen? Is it a touch screen or not? All these different things. Now we've been analyzing and discussing it. So it is day 2, and I wanted to discuss what's going on and just how I feel about it now on day 2, as opposed to 5 minutes after the information came into my brain. And I think it's, a lot of times gives you a lot more perspective. I think it's a good thing to do. So I'm going to start with a couple of things that are bad, I guess, if you can say bad news. The things that aren't yet great news, I'll say. As somebody who's very excited for the Switch, just as a reminder, I really like what I've seen so far. I'm very, very excited. This is a wonderful time. But there are some things that still are bad, if you can say, or just the unknown. And for me, the biggest thing that is is probably qualifying as bad is going to be the unknown. It's the mystery. There's so much we still don't know. It's all these unanswered questions. And that's bad because when you have unanswered questions in a scenario like this, you have to wonder, what is the answer going to be? Is the answer going to be bad? We want to know, is the screen touchscreen or not? And I think that they've confirmed it is. So you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But for me, if they confirmed it's not, that would be bad news. What's the battery life? One of the biggest questions people have. What's the battery life? Nintendo has yet to give an official answer to that. So what if that's bad news? What if the answer is 2 or 3 hours? Well, that's a big problem. What's going to happen with all the third-party games? I mean, that could be something that falls apart. That could be a bad answer. There's tons of things. What's the price going to be? What games are going to launch? What about the games that they showed, like the Mario Kart game and the Splatoon game? Like, are those sequels or are they just remasters of the Wii U versions? And to me, that answer could go, one of two ways. And for me, the better answer would be if they were sequels. And these are just random examples that are coming to my head. There's a lot of things we have to wait to find out about. And you want to hope that they're going to be the right answers and the right information that makes it that much more appealing. Oh, the other big one, how powerful is this thing? Does this thing fall below an Xbox One? Does it fall between an Xbox One or PS4? Might we be lucky and it's as powerful as a PS4 or more? Doubtful, but I mean, we just don't know. And these are the things that, again, you want to hope you get the right information, but what if we don't? So to me, that's something that I don't yet love, that there's still so many answers. The other thing that isn't great is we don't know when we're going to get more information. Nintendo recently came out just in the last couple of days, yesterday, obviously, saying, as of now, no plans to discuss specs or games or further games, I believe, until, this year, basically saying before 2016 is over. So if there's truth to that, now we have to wait another couple of months before we even have Nintendo address the darn thing. And that's a little bit frustrating because I wanted to believe that they were going to capitalize on this momentum. By the way, it's being received overall quite positively. There's a lot of buzz. A lot of people are excited, both Nintendo fans and traditionally non-Nintendo fans alike. Obviously, there are detractors. It's going to be a polarizing thing that people are going to form serious opinions on, of course. But based on the 3 minutes and a little bit of information that we were given through that, people have mostly been excited for this. And that makes me really happy to see. It feels good to see people on Nintendo's side again. But what about the next piece of information? What about the Nintendo Direct that gives us all this information? What about at least a couple of tidbits? On the podcast, Terrell had this great idea of trickling out information where we might get just 1 or 2 game announcements or just like an update about what controllers are going to be in the box and what are going to be sold separately, things like that they might do every couple of weeks. What about the investors meeting next week? Might they give us information there? And to hear that right now, that's not necessarily the plan. That's too bad. That's not great news. Like, why would they want to wait? Why wouldn't they want to just keep rolling with this machine and run the hype train into the ground in a good way? And that so far seems to be not their plan. And that is a shame, So these are some of the bad things. I have to wonder if the power is going to be below an Xbox One. There were leaked specs from NVIDIA, which we know is powering the machine or making the GPU or whatever. And I guess the specs apparently are still pretty good. People have mostly been like, yeah, that's okay. That's good stuff. It can run most things competently. That's great. But I guess it's more, almost on par with like the Xbox One and PS4, but still not quite. So it's telling us it probably is lower in power than the current machines. And while it's not terrible, it's not great either. But it'll be nice to get concrete information from Nintendo, official specs, and see more games and stuff running on. I think that's going to be the really big deal there, and I don't know. I mean, that's the thing is what is the bad news that we're still going to get? And that's a shame. I really, really want to know what's going to go on there. For me, I was hoping to hear that there's going to be like a second screen experience so that it's more than just you dock it and it's either on your TV or in your hand. I would like to learn that there's a Wii U style of play where you could actually do both at the same time. I believe that that's slowly coming out is confirmed to not be the case. And that definitely is too bad. But that's kind of what happens, is that's the bad. But the good is what's so much more exciting. I still am excited now that it's been 48 hours almost. I mean, I remain excited. I am feeling like Nintendo has made a really smart choice here, you guys, a really good decision with what they're trying to do. I think that they're going to hit a very specific market. I think that this market is excited for the Switch and is kind of so far buying into what Nintendo's trying to propose. And Nintendo, with that 1 3-minute trailer, seems to be addressing the right demographic. You've heard everyone talk about it. I've talked about it. Everyone's talked about it. It was all these young adults, millennials, these people in their 20s and 30s, the adult gamers that they represented and were marketing to in that trailer. No families, no kids. Nothing that made it feel casual, which, as I said in my video, was my number one fear. That's not really what happened there. They showed us the right kinds of games, first and third party. They showed us a Bethesda game running on the machine, so we know Bethesda's in great shape. And they showed the right kind of people playing in the right settings and scenarios that made you understand it's great to play at home on your TV, but it's great to play on the go and how so many people can play in so many different ways. I mean, and it's working. I said this on the podcast as well. I have a large group of gamer friends and many Nintendo fans, but also many non-Nintendo fans. And it seems like almost all of them, not everybody, for any of my buddies who actually watch this, but most of you guys seem to be really into what Nintendo's doing. And that's a big deal. It shows that they might be reaching the right audience. And if they continue this messaging through the launch, they have, I think, a bona fide hit on their hands. And again, as I said a couple minutes ago, it feels good to see people on Nintendo's side again. That's just great to me. For me, the biggest thing, and I talked about this, quite a bit as well, is the third-party stuff. I'm a diehard Nintendo fan, so it's Nintendo's games, it's their software development, their franchises that are my favorite and drive my gaming passion. But I love my PlayStation and Xbox consoles, and I have a gaming PC, and I play that stuff all the time. If you know me, you know that. I support everything outside of Nintendo as well. I try to be a well-rounded gamer, and I think that it's very important and healthy to do so. So through that, I love third-party games. I'm a huge fan, and I've very much begrudged the fact that the last couple of years and generations, it's been hard to play the right kind of quality third-party games on my Nintendo console. I'd love to be able to have these games right alongside my Marios and Metroids and Zeldas on my Wii, my Wii U, and now upcoming onto my Switch. And it seems like that's what's happening. The best thing that happened yesterday, which definitely happened way after I gave my initial impression right after I watched it in the morning, was that awesome list of third-party developers that Nintendo released, people who are on board, partnered with Nintendo, developing content for the Nintendo Switch. Oh my god, it was so great. It was a huge list. You've probably seen that picture, but just in case you haven't, Kamehame Switch, bitch! Man, look at all those freaking companies. It's so awesome. Electronic Arts is there, Ubisoft is there, some of the obvious ones, Capcom is there, Platinum Games is there, so exciting, but you see Bethesda, you see From Software, you see Telltale Games, all these different things. I mean, most of the relevant players are represented. Some people pointed this out as well. THQ Nordic is on that list, and they're just only recently reformed and working on some interesting stuff, so all of a sudden, they're working with Nintendo again. This is what I wanted to see. Even as a diehard Nintendo fan, I needed to know that Nintendo could get these games back on board, not just for myself, because I could survive with a Nintendo console without that stuff. In fact, I've been doing that for a couple of years now, we all have. But it's good for Nintendo in the broader sense, for the industry, for the gamer, for the consumer, the way they can advertise. You need the strength of third parties, and for a long time, throughout the life of the Wii U, I know a lot of diehard Nintendo and Wii U fans, of which I am also, really wanted to believe that, Nintendo doesn't need them. They suck. They have shitty business practices. Nintendo stuff is so good. They're too good. They're too pure to even deal with that dirty stuff. And while I appreciate that in theory, and there is some truth to it in the sense that, yes, especially in the 8th generation, we've seen the rise of really bad business practices and shoddy DLC and broken games and all these things that I do not love or support. At the same time, there is a lot of great things coming from the third-party side of the gaming industry right now, and some of the best ideas, some of the biggest innovations, and the greatest games being made, some of them are going to be memorable for so very long. They're being made by the third parties. They're not being made by Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft. That's just the flat-out truth of it. And they also drive the industry forward because there's a huge consumer base for these games. Your Grand Theft Autos and your Red Dead Redemptions and your BioShocks, your Destinies, your Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creeds, these games freaking matter. Call of Duty, Battlefield, I don't even know, Final Fantasy. You gotta have these games. They make a difference. And I love the idea that Nintendo seems to have worked very hard to get these guys on board. And they even showcased that by showing a Bethesda game running on the Switch in that trailer. And that was great because Bethesda has notoriously been a company that's never worked with Nintendo. EA's worked with Nintendo, Ubisoft, Capcom, Square. These are companies, while it's so great to see them on this list again, they've done this in the past. But Bethesda, this is like a first-time deal, I believe. I cannot think of any time that a Bethesda game is released on a Nintendo console. Maybe I'm missing something and you guys can correct me well after the fact in the comments below, but I'm pretty sure that hasn't happened. So Nintendo's showing me the right stuff. They've got a great idea. They have an awesome controller. They're marketing it and appealing to the right people properly so far. And they've got all these third-party gamers on board, and we know that NVIDIA is releasing a very quality graphics processor for this thing. I mean, it's been almost nothing but good news. Like I said, the only bad news is the lack of news, and the fact that we also now have to wait for more news. That's the thing that has me worried or that I maybe don't love. Also, I guess the name is the thing I'm kind of like in the middle on, but I don't really care about that. Even if I hated the name, like I said before, I wouldn't care. So yeah, I mean, that's the day two kind of scenario of what's going on with the Wii U, or the Wii U. Too many game systems in my head, you guys, with the Nintendo Switch. I've had Wii U, NX, Nintendo Switch, 3DS. Too many freaking Nintendo consoles in my head. That's what's going on, day two. And it's very interesting to see everyone reacting positively, the buzz being so strong. I love seeing those third-party companies. That is just, I'm so pumped about that, you guys. I was, like I said on the podcast, weeping with tears of joy when I saw them tweet that out within the first hour or two of the trailer going live. And Bethesda made a tweet, "We're happy to be a partner in developing." Some other company did the same thing. I think it's just so great. They showed sports games coming back, whether that was, EA's basketball game or if it was 2K, NBA 2K or whatever. That's great news. Some people were like, "Oh, Rockstar's not listed on that list," but they're a part of Take-Two Interactive, and Take-Two is on that list. So that means Red Dead Redemption could be coming. Probably is, I'm thinking. That means that Grand Theft Auto, the next one, could be coming. Maybe they just randomly bring that Grand Theft Auto 5 remaster to it, because apparently whenever you release that for anything, it's going to sell like crazy. So actually it'd be really smart for them to make that. In fact, that's probably when I would buy it. And, so many other people are saying this is when I'll buy my multi-platform games on Nintendo's console if they release on this console, because I can now take them on the go. The same great, Watch Dogs 2 or whatever running on your PS4, that's great. But if you could run the same game on your Switch, you also now have access to a portable version of that same game. You can take your same game and your same save, have the same quality, high graphic quality console experience, and just boom, pick that shit up. It's in your hand, go. Take a flight, take a long car drive, take a road trip, go to the park, walk your dog, whatever you want to do, go to a house party on a roof. You can do all these things and keep playing Watch Dogs 2. And this is the thing that makes me excited, guys. And the last thing I'll leave you guys with in this long day 2 reaction here is that I love the fact that this is just nothing but one huge option. That's what Nintendo's doing, and why, even though I never loved the idea of the tablet idea when it was a rumor, I'm loving how Nintendo's selling me on it, because seeing it in practice and seeing Nintendo do something with it is making me realize it's only what you want it to be. I kind of want more of a console than anything, and I loved seeing that. It's another thing I loved about it, was really analyzing that dock and the fact that it's something beefier, something that I think is big enough to have moving parts. Maybe it's a supplemental computing device, maybe not, but it looks like it would be. It's got ports on it. It's not a little dock that I was like a little tiny thing that you just set it in. It's a beefy unit, and I love that. And so if I want a console out of this thing and not a portable, hey, I got that. I just leave the thing docked all the time. If I never, for the many years that I own this thing, lift that thing out of the dock and take it with me, it's a console. The end. End of story. So people who are like, "Oh, I don't want a portable, it's a Wii U too." And it's like, yeah, no, it's not. Because it's a console if you want it to be, or it's a portable if you want it to be. It can't be the Wii U 2 because, like I said, I'm pretty sure it was confirmed that you can't do the second screen experience and run the controllers, the Switch controller screen at the same time it's running on the TV. So you can't do what the Wii U is supposed to do. That actually does make me sad, to be fair. I actually want that to happen, but I can deal with it not doing that. I really hope we get gyro controls out of something, though. Terminator Juice thinks the Pro controller is going to do that. I hope that's right. I doubt it, but I sure hope to be wrong. So anyway, I'm getting long in the tooth. The point is, it seems great. Day 2, a lot more information has come out, and most things are seeming great. Some negative rumors, some rumors that maybe the battery life is as low as 3 hours. I'm not believing anything till it comes from Nintendo at this point. Screw all these rumors. I'm done with the rumors. Nintendo's shown us the Switch. We know what it is. Let's just wait until they talk about it again. Until then, I don't care. Any rumor doesn't mean shit diddly fuck until I hear it from Nintendo. The end. And, that might be foolish to some people, but I don't care. And I'm excited that I can have a console if I want, and you can have a portable if you want, or both, or whatever the hell. It's really sweet. So that's it, man. That's what's going on with the Nintendo Switch Day 2. As you can tell, I'm excited. Are you excited? Tell me what you think. Talk to me about your pros and cons now that we've had some time, a lot of information, a couple days of tweets. Some people like it, some people don't. What the hell's going on? Talk about the things you think that I'm worried about. Talk about the things you think that I love. What is it that you love and don't love? I want to hear whatever you have to say about the Nintendo Switch. Leave that in the comments section down below. So yeah, thanks again, as always, for tuning in, guys. Nintendo Switch action. Loving what's going on so far. Hopefully we get more information from Nintendo soon. Maybe at that investors meeting. Who knows? But thanks for tuning in. This is Rob of Rule 2 Review, guys. I will catch you guys next time on another video.